What is ransomware? Ransomware is malicious software. When installed on a computer, it encrypts users' personal and system files and locks the user out of documents, applications, and folder directories. It demands a ransom, paid in a peer-to-peer transaction using cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, in return for the decryption key. Some ransomware demand payments via Western Union and even gift cards. Ransomware places detailed instructions on how to make the payment into every directory with the encrypted files on the infected system. Ransomware usually targets Windows-based systems due to its large market share. Ransomware can infect the system through vulnerabilities in unpatched software. The first sign that your computer has been infected with ransomware is when you are not being able to run any programs on your computer, or unable to access local or shared documents, and receive a pop-up message stating that your computer has been locked, or your personal files are encrypted by. To add urgency to the demand, ransomware adds a countdown to the pop-up screen declaring that every 24 hours, the ransom amount doubles, or that in 72 hours the decryption key will be deleted, and it will be impossible to retrieve the decryption key. The pop-up message is added to the system startup and automatically launched every time the computer is rebooted. Why is it called ransomware? The word ransomware is a combination of ransom and software. The term was first used in 2004 by security researcher Benjamin Smith, trying to find a name for this type of malware. He came up with ransomware because it sounded like something one might use against kidnappers, as in ransom, because the malware holds your files hostage until you pay the ransom. When was it first detected? 1989 was the year when the first malware extortion attack was executed. The ransomware was written and launched by Dr. Joseph Popp. He designed a Trojan horse called PC Cyborg Trojan, also referred to as AIDS info disk. He distributed the Trojan to the victims on a floppy disk labeled as AIDS Information Introductory Diskette. Dr. Joseph Popp sent 20,000 copies of the AIDS info disk to the attendees of the World Health Organization's International AIDS Conference in 1989. The victims used the floppy disk and did not notice or suspect anything until the 90th reboot of their computers. The AIDS Trojan counted system reboots, and after the 90th reboot, it hid user folders and directories and encrypted names of all files on drive C, using a simple symmetric encryptor. The demand was stating that the software license has expired, and to renew the license and be able to use computers again, the victims must send $189 to the PC Cyborg PO box in Panama. Due to the simplicity of the encryptor used by Dr. Joseph Popp, IT professionals quickly discovered a decryption key and reinstated operations for the infected systems without paying the ransom. Check the full story here. How many stages in a ransomware attack? The number of stages in a ransomware attack varies depending on whether or not the attack is targeted. Let's look at both types of cyber attacks. Untargeted attack. In an untargeted attack, the hacker, using phishing techniques, spreads his net as wide as possible, hoping to catch as many potential victims and infect their systems. For the hacker, it does not matter who the victims are. The malware is distributed via email attachments, email links, malicious websites, tampered freeware or shareware. There are 5 stages in an untargeted ransomware attack. First, distribution of the ransomware. Second, installation of the ransomware on vulnerable systems, encrypting local files and mapped shared directories. Third, notification of the victim about the ransom. Fourth, paying or not paying a ransom. And fifth, the hacker may or may not release the decryption key. Targeted attack. Now let's look at a targeted ransomware attack. This type of attack is well organized and usually takes a few months to execute. The hacker is determined to get the crown jewels of the organization, which are the organization's critical assets. The hacker is sure he will receive the ransom payment for the critical assets. There are more stages in targeted attack when compared to the untargeted one. Scanning the victim's public resources, looking for the optimal attack vector, initial access to the system, lateral movement to locate the crown jewels, extraction of the crown jewels. The hacker masquerades his actions as a legitimate process or network traffic to exfiltrate sensitive information. The hacker uploads a few gigabytes of the data per day, or a few hundreds, depending on the organization's daily upload usage, and only during business hours to avoid detection by virus protection that utilizes anomaly detection. The data exfiltration process can take a few months to complete. The primary goal of the hacker is to stay undetected during the exfiltration process. Installation of ransomware, notification of the victim about the ransom, demand to pay ransom in exchange for the decryption key, paying or not paying ransom, the hacker may or may not release the key, demand to pay for the exfiltrated data not to be sold or published on the darknet or public file sharing platforms. This is called double extortion and became popular in 2019. The hacker may or may not keep his word and sell or publish the data anyway. RAS, ransomware as a service. Ransomware has been around for decades, but the last few years it has seen an exponential growth in its use, due to how effective it is and how easy it has become to hire a ransomware service. Unfortunately, today's reality is that the attacker does not have to be a computer geek or a programmer to launch a full-scale ransomware attack. Ransomware services are offered for a small price on the darknet, and anyone with an ill intention can launch a full-blown cyber attack against an organization. Today, there are over 120,000 ransomware samples, with new ones emerging every day. Early types of ransomware. Before crypto-ransomware exploded in popularity, there were two predecessors widely used by cybercriminals: scareware and screenlocker. Today, scareware and screenlocker are not very effective, due to the enhanced default security mechanisms of the operating systems. Nevertheless, they still appear, and we should be able to detect them and act accordingly. Scareware. Scareware is malware that scares victims into buying malicious or completely useless software. Scareware often tries to trick you by displaying fake alerts that make it seem like your computer has got infected with a virus or spyware and needs immediate action. How scareware works. Scareware displays a sudden pop-up message stating that your antivirus has detected over 50 or so viruses and prompting you to click a button to remove the viruses from your computer. Once you click the button or the message itself, you will be redirected to a page, prompting you to enter your credit card to purchase the full version of the software, which is malware that steals your details, passwords, and any other sensitive information. The scareware is usually not software at all, but instead is simply a web page. A hacker designs a web page to look like Windows Explorer or an interface of an antivirus program. For an untrained eye, those fake web pages do look very realistic. Scareware was an increasingly popular form of malware because it was easy and inexpensive for cybercriminals to create and execute. How does scareware enter the computer? There are many ways scareware can enter your computer. It can be automatically downloaded from an infected website or stealthily deployed during freeware and shareware installation. As mentioned earlier, scareware can run within a web browser. You may have clicked on a malicious advertising link that triggered scareware. The primary focus of scareware is to scare the victim into purchasing and downloading malware to advance the attack. What to do if you got scareware? Most scareware can be terminated by rebooting the computer or via a task manager function native to Windows systems. If you got a scareware message, remember not to click on it. 5 steps to get rid of scareware are: do not click or purchase anything from the scareware pop-ups on your screen. Close all browser tabs and restart your computer to remove any active malware processes. Check the installed programs and remove the malicious application, if any. Update antivirus and scan your computer with an antivirus program or anti-malware program to identify any remaining threats and remove them. Keep your web browser and software up to date. Screen Locker. Screen Locker is ransomware that adds itself to auto-start and locks your screen so you can't get access to the task manager or your desktop unless the program stops running. How Screen Locker works. Screen lockers are malicious software that locks your screen and demands payment to unlock your computer. Screen Locker does seem like real crypto ransomware because the victim gets locked out from the computer. Even after multiple computer reboots, the computer screen gets locked out when the user logs back in. How does the screen locker enter computer? Unlike scareware, the screen locker requires to be installed or executed by the user. Screen locker may be injected in freeware or shareware programs or run as bash or PowerShell script, injected into email attachment or link. Screen Locker can also be downloaded and executed during the drive-by download attack. What to do if you got a screen locker? Multiple computer reboots will not solve a screen locker problem, so you will need to interrupt the login process and log into safe mode when the computer loads only essential system services and processes. On Windows, you will need to press Ctrl plus F8. On Mac, pressing and holding the Shift key during system start will boot into safe mode. You will need to load a few malware removers and scan the system until the malware is detected and deleted from the computer. The evolution of ransomware and its impact on your business. The development of ransomware has been dramatic in the last few years, with new variants being released every day. Ransomware is evolving and becoming more sophisticated, which makes it challenging to detect or prevent it. It is a never-ending cat and mouse game, where ransomware gangs adapted their variants to the changes in the industry of security software and organizations' cyber-security practices. From the year 2005, the primary functions of ransomware were to scare the victims into buying malware, encrypt data, and sell the victim the decryption key. From 2010, when cryptocurrency promised to provide a great level of anonymity for money transactions, ransomware started to scale up, and tens of thousands of new ransomware variants started to appear every year. Since 2016, ransomware has been offered as a service and gets quick popularity among cybercriminals. The year 2019, the rise of double extortion. One of the primary reasons cybercriminals deploy ransomware is to get monetary compensation, so they started to extract data before encrypting it. By doing so, they increase the chances of getting paid for the decryption key or for the data not to be leaked. The year 2021, the rise of complex ransom ops. Ransomware is no longer the main goal of an attack, but the final step in it. Ransomware gangs have established a system where they sell the malware and provide pre- and after-sale support. What makes ransomware still dangerous today? One of the apparent reasons is how easy it is to source a customized ransomware kit, with complete instructions on how to execute it. On the darknet, ransomware is offered as a subscription service for a small fee. Criminal gangs set up virtual help desk centers to assist the buyers of ransomware, also known as affiliates, with the purchase and execution of ransomware attacks. The affiliates do not have to be tech-savvy and get full technical support from the criminal gangs. Who is behind the criminal gangs? Teams of developers, black hat hackers, and help desk specialists. How ransomware can get inside your company network. Ransomware is the final step in the cyber attack kill chain. The hacker infiltrates a company's network through an email attachment, phishing email, social engineering, stolen credentials, misconfiguration in internet-facing systems, or by exploiting vulnerabilities in the organization's software. After successful initial exploitation, the attacker tries to remain undetected while studying the network and existing vulnerabilities. The attacker laterally moves between systems until reaching the business-critical systems, which could be financial documents, clients or HR database, the trade secrets, or the know-how of the organization. This type of information is valuable to the organization and, therefore, to the attacker. This type of asset is called the crown jewel. After the attacker locates the crown jewels, he starts encrypting portions of the data and uploading it to the attacker server or the trusted cloud services like Google Drive, Dropbox, or others, hiding in different protocols. The protocols like HTTPS connecting to OneDrive or AWS Bucket might be marked as trusted on the firewall and are not be decrypted for deeper traffic inspection. Data extraction might take weeks or even months to avoid detection. Once the data is exfiltrated, the attacker deploys ransomware and encrypts the systems. The attacker starts double extortion by first demanding the victim to pay ransomware to receive the decryption key. Suppose the victim decides not to pay and restore data from the backups, or involve law enforcement in the investigation. In that case, the attacker threatens the victim to leak the sensitive information on the darknet, or make it public, which could damage the organization's reputation. The ways attackers get the initial access to the victim's systems are social engineering techniques, email attachments and links to malicious websites, unpatched systems, legacy systems, zero-day exploits. How to protect yourself from the latest malware risks. Ransomware can be devastating for businesses. Even though hackers are becoming more and more sophisticated in the way they get into your system, there are some steps you can take to protect yourself from it. The best way to protect your company from ransomware is to know where your crown jewel is, who, and how it is accessed and used, what security controls you have in place, how adequate and relevant the security controls are. In addition to that, have updated antivirus software, regularly back up your data and systems, make sure you are running the latest patches for all of your software, use strong passwords and passphrases, and don't open suspicious emails or attachments. To detect and prevent data exfiltration at the early stage, inspect all network traffic, leaving and coming to your organization. If you would like to discuss further how to protect your organization from a ransomware attack, speak to Cyber Elements consultants today.